Today I'm going to review The Curse of the Werewolf.
The Curse of the Werewolf, that was laid on a baby who grew into a man possessed by a monster.
The Curse of the Werewolf came out in 1961 and is a British horror film from Hammer Studios. It stars Oliver Reed in his first major starring role. It was directed by Terence and written by John Elder. That's a pseudonym for Anthony Hines. The film is based on the novel The Werewolf of Paris, and the location was switched from Paris to Madrid. The film was adapted into a 15-page comic strip in 1978 for the House of Hammer magazine. Roy Ashton based his makeup for this film on the Jack Pierce makeup for The Wolfman from 1941. On its release, the film didn't do as well as other Hammer films at the time, such as Dracula or the Frankenstein series. However, it's now regarded as a classic among fans. The film runs 91 minutes. The film stars Oliver Reed, Clifford Evans, Yvonne Roman, Catherine Feller, Anthony Dawson, Michael Ripper, Richard Wordsworth, Warren Mitchell, Peter Sallis and Desmond Llewellyn. So this is the only werewolf film that Hammer did. However, Hammer did make a TV show called Hammer House of Horror, and they did an episode that featured werewolves, Children of the Full Moon, and I've reviewed that on the channel. It's excellent. But this is the only movie that Hammer did that featured werewolves. So it's Oliver Reed's first starring role in a film, and he's been in other horror films, Burnt Offerings, The Brood, and other films as well. He's famous for his whispering voice, which is very effective. Although sometimes it's hard to hear what he's actually saying. Sometimes he whispers too low, but it's a very effective acting method.
Christina, do you love me? Will you marry me, Christina?
Eh? What's he bloody say? I can't hear the drunken bugger. I think Oliver Reed was an underrated actor. He has a great screen presence. He can be very menacing, just his actual appearance. He looks bloody scary without makeup, never mind when he puts the werewolf makeup on. Oliver Reed enjoyed frightening fellow motorists by driving home in his full werewolf makeup after finishing work for the day. So the film starts with these titles, and Hammer were really good at these movie title sequences right at the beginning of the film. The close-up of the werewolf's eyes, looking from right to left to right to left. And it's very unsettling right from the very beginning. Then the film starts with this narration about a beggar going to find food at the castle. And he gets badly treated and put in jail, and he's in there for years. And then this servant girl used to give him food as a little girl, and years later she can't speak as well. She gets shoved into the prison cell with him, and he actually rapes her. But he dies of a heart attack afterwards. So raping her was too much work. Yeah, what a bloody dirty bugger he is, that beggar. Hey, at least he died on the job. But it's quite a strong start for the film, actually seeing this beggar, who he actually looks like a werewolf himself, all covered in hair. And the film actually had problems with the censor. Over 5 minutes were cut by the censor for the British release, and even more for the American version. Before its release, the BBFC issued Hammer Films with an ultimatum. The film company could present their movie Curse of the Werewolf with scenes of either sex or violence, but not both. And it's interesting that they were going to actually have the beggar in the prison actually be a genuine werewolf. That would have been good. In an interview, Richard Wordsworth stated that in the original screenplay, his character of the beggar was actually a werewolf. However, Hammer told him that the censor had problems with the notion of a werewolf rapist, so it was cut out. So the servant girl ends up being pregnant by the beggar, and she escapes, and this couple find her and raise her a little bit till she has the kid. And she dies in childbirth. But strangely enough, she has the child on Christmas Day. And that's actually the reason he becomes a werewolf. The film forgoes the popular myth that a person bitten by a werewolf will become one. Instead, it invokes the much older idea. In many European countries, it was believed that such a child, born on Christmas Day, was competing with the birth of Jesus Christ, and that the curse was a punishment for blasphemy for being born on Christmas Day. So the middle part of the film focuses on Leon, the little boy who becomes Oliver Reed. It's good casting actually, because the child does look like a young Oliver Reed. That's another good thing about this film. Although Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, the two major Hammer stars, aren't in this film, it does have a very good cast. Even the incidental actors are good. For instance, you get Desmond Llewellyn popping up.
Hey, that's that bugger out of the Bond films, Q.
Yes, Bones, he was. He was Q in the Bond films. And also Warren Mitchell pops up.
Hey, that's that bugger who plays Alf Garnett. He's got bloody hair this time.
Yes, he was, Bones. It's a brilliant TV show, that. In Sickness and in Health. So there's lots of familiar faces. Michael Ripper has a good role in it as well. He's in loads of Hammer films, that character actor. One strange thing about the film though, although Oliver Reed's the star, he doesn't appear until 48 minutes into the film. So it's over halfway before Oliver Reed pops up. It's good that the film looks more expensive than usual, which a lot of early Hammer films, the films did look more expensive than the later ones. And it's partly to do with the director, Terence Fisher, and also that he was able to use these sets that were used from an abandoned film that was set in Spain about the Spanish Inquisition. So that was a good bonus to have them sets. But for me, the standouts, the brilliant werewolf makeup. It's an amazing looking werewolf.
The Legend of the Werewolf from 1975 also had similar werewolf makeup, and it's also based on the novel The Werewolf of Paris. So both werewolves look similar, however the one in Curse of the Werewolf looks better.
And I think it's partly to do with Oliver Reed being behind the makeup, so you have his eyes. But it is brilliant makeup. Unfortunately, you don't see the bloody werewolf until the last 10 minutes in the film. You just see a scene where you see his hairy arm, where he strangles someone. But you don't see the proper werewolf makeup until the last 10 minutes. Which is a real shame actually, because this film needed a couple of more scenes with the werewolf. And the reason is that Hammer used to do this with some of the monster films that they made. For instance, the Gorgon, where you don't see the actual Gorgon until the end of the film. And they did this because they were worried that the audience might laugh at the monster. They didn't want to show it too early, just the end, so they could kind of get away with it. But that was because they were worried about the makeup not looking as good. But with this film, the makeup was outstanding. So they could have got away right from the beginning showing the werewolf. And it kind of knocks a point off me mark, because you don't see enough of the werewolf, just the ending. When you do see him, he's brilliant. And it has a good death sequence right at the end. It's interesting that the werewolf doesn't change back into human form at the end. It stays a werewolf. So out of 10, I've got to knock a mark off with the lack of a werewolf in the film, just the last 10 minutes. But it's still a classic. I'll give it a 9. 9 out of 10. Brilliant film. And it stands out because it's Hammer's only werewolf film. What did you think, Bones? Did you like it?
Excellent film, Phil. A classic. And well done, Oliver Reed. I'll buy the drinks, mate.
Cheers. I haven't got one.
Hey, Bones, Oliver Reed's dead. So you'll not be spending much buying them drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, first of all, your researcher was told already that I don't want to talk about drink, understand? Mm-hmm. So let's cool that one. Get on to a new subject. I love trees and boats.
Okay, everybody, bye. Like, subscribe, and share. Bye. Bye. Bye.